Yo, what's up? This your boy Derek Branch here, SportsView360.com, covering the New Orleans Saints. And today I just want to talk about what occurred yesterday with Mickey Loomis and his end of the season press conference session that was held yesterday at the Saints headquarters. And he took to the podium yesterday. Offered his perspective on the team's present state and its future direction. I mean, while Loomis's statements struck characteristically optimistic tone, in my opinion, they also underscored the challenges the Saints face as they look to rebuild after a disappointing 5-12 season. So I'm going to give you a quick deep dive into his comments and what they reveal about the organization's outlook. So, head coaching dilemma, right? The search process. So he made it clear that Saints are prioritizing thoroughness over speed in their search for a new head coach, with a group that includes Jeff Allen, Kai Harley, Dave Ziegler, and others leading the process. Randy Mueller as well. Loomis emphasized the importance of finding the best coach possible and ensuring alignment on vision and culture. Quote, we're going to follow the process. I think sometimes if you feel under pressure to make a quick decision, that's generally where you make mistakes. So the way I see that, right, is that they're going to have four more people outside of Loomis that's going to be heavily involved in this search. So Jeff Allen, Kai Harley, Dave Ziegler, and Randy Mueller. So Randy Mueller is a former NFL GM, had a previous stint with the team prior to Sean Payton getting there. And Mickey Loomis is very familiar with him during that era, during the Jim Haslett era. Jeff Allen, of course, is in charge of scouting. Kai Harley is the cap guy, the money guy. Dave Ziegler comes over from the Las Vegas Raiders, was fired when Josh McDaniels was let go that a few years ago. All right. So this approach is proven given the higher stakes involved. Saints need next head coach must be more than just a tactician. According to Loomis, they need to be a leader capable of redefining the team's identity and steering the culture back to contention. His remarks to me suggest that the Saints are casting a wide net, and unconstrained by whether a candidate is offensive minded or defensive minded. This flexibility to me could be vital in ensuring the best possible hire. However, Loomis's acknowledgement of his own role in supporting the previous regime raised some eyebrows. Quote, I could have probably done a better job of supporting Dennis Allen in a few areas. While Loomis didn't elaborate, this admission suggests that to me that there were structured organizational deficiencies that hindered Allen's ability to succeed. If the Saints were serious about building a sustainable winner, addressing these internal challenges would be just as important as finding the right coach. So, I mean, I know many of you already know what went down a few days ago where, Dennis Allen went on a podcast. I think it was Jay Glazer's podcast. Just talk about his time in New Orleans, his experiences as a head coach with the team, and how the whole firing took place. And one of the things he brought up was that Mickey Loomis, told him that he would prefer not to fire him midway during the season. So it is what it is at this point, man. But I think Loomis was gonna fire him once the season was over on Black Monday. I think Da was gone, but Gail Benson stepped in and did it. But had this been done, well before the Panthers lost, maybe the Saints could have had a better season. Man, we could have won more games. Because like I said in the previous videos, the Tampa Bay game where they got blown out by 52 points is where Dennis Allen should have been fired at. This is where he should have been fired at. Or even after the Denver Broncos game, he should have been fired. you know. So then they talked to him about rebuilding or retooling. One of the most revealing comments to me from Loomis came when he addressed the idea of rebuild. Rather than committing to a full scale overhaul, Loomis suggests the team's future lies somewhere between continuity and change. Quote, rebuild means different things to different people. Excuse me. There's a lot of good things on our roster, but there are a lot of things to fill in as well. End quote. So Loomis is, a glass full, half full type of guy, and that's evident here. But so is his recognition of the gaps in the roster. Injuries were a recurring theme in his comments. And as he noted the need for a deep dive into why key players like Derek Carr, Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara missed significant time, Loomis acknowledged the positives, such as leadership improvement and young player development. The Saints' inability to stay healthy and execute consistently highlights just how far they have to go. So to me, man, when he says rebuild means different things to different people, to me that's saying that we're trying to run it back. We are trying to run it back again. But my thing is this, man. My question is this: if nobody's gonna lose their job in the among the executives, if Allen's not gonna lose his job, other people ain't gonna lose their jobs. What changes are you going to make, man, with this team? Because I think we can all agree that something is fundamentally wrong with this football team on why they're not good enough, why they can't win games. The Saints, outside of those last couple of games of the season, you know, they weren't getting blown out. That stuff started happening towards the end of the season, you know. But to me, man, they're gonna try to run this thing back again, bro. Maybe Cam Jordan may not be a part of this team. Maybe not. We'll see. But I don't care what they. I mean, how they do it. They need to. They got to change something, man. Loomis cannot sit up there at this presser and say that and say what he just said. About rebuilding and things like that. But then again, we on the outside looking in, as fans and all that, media, journalists, podcasters, YouTubers, we looking at the team from a different perspective. He views it differently, and he views it as and I think in his own mind, he thinks that this team is still close. That's what he thinks. He feel as though the team is only a few, couple players away from being really good again. I don't know. I disagree. This team is not that good, man. You know. Um, you also talked about the salary cap, man, and comfortably being uncomfortable. So one of the most pressing concerns, facing the Saints is the salary cap situation, and Loomis didn't shy away from addressing that. Known for his creative cap management, Loomis just described the team's approach as comfortably uncomfortable. Quote, you can just say, here's a number of here. When rewind that. Quote, you can just say, here's a number and here's the over. It's collective. There's also many elements. I mean, that's a nuanced response from him, but to me, with the cap situation, man, like I said, I just tied this into the team running it back, man. You can't, due to all the dead money that's due, you can't tear this team down to the studs. You can, but you're not gonna be as good this year. You might not win. You might win like 1 or 2 games this year. If you do. If you tear this down and eat all this money. They can't do that if they want to. But they won't. We know they won't. Because based on what Loomis just said about the rebuilding. And then what I said about him seeing this team entirely different from a different perspective than what we see it as. But they're gonna restructure who they're gonna need. They're gonna need to restructure. Derek Carr, things like that. I know he talked about the new head coach. He cleared up the rumor that was put out there by Tony Pauline a few weeks ago that um, whoever the new head coach is going to be, they're going to have to retain a few members of the staff that was on that worked with Dennis Allen. He came out and said that's not true. He said that whoever the new head coach is got to go have the opportunity to do whatever you want to the staff. Fire. Well, I won't say fire, but let the old staff go. Retain some of the people. It's his choice. Also with the quarterback situation is his choice as well. So there's a chance that Derek Carr may not be on this roster. We'll see how it all play out, but I think I think they're gonna try to convince the new head coach about keeping Derek Carr. I really do. You know what I'm saying? And now that the new rumors is that Mike McCarthy is going to be added to the mix now since they you know they didn't come to the agreement with they let his Dallas the Cowboys let his contract expire, so he's going to be a part of the mix now. So they expect him to interview next week. So we'll see how that all play out. But I think somebody like Mike McCarthy is going to want to keep Derek Carr on his football team, in my opinion. Anyways, even if Michael McCarthy didn't show up, I think don't become the new Saints head coach. I think Derek Carr is going to be on this roster. I'm just looking at it from a reality standpoint. The dead money. I don't think they want. They want to compete for the. To me, in my opinion, they want to compete for the NFC South next season, despite going through a rebuild. They are rebuilding. They're not gonna come out and say that, but the team is rebuilding. But they're gonna want to try to compete next season. But we got to see how it all play out, man. But Loomis ain't going nowhere, bro. Loomis ain't going nowhere. According to what he said, he made some remarks about somebody asked him about if he ever thought about retiring, a question along those lines, and because of his age and all that, and he responded to them by saying, "You only asking me this because I'm 68. If I was younger than this, I'm paraphrasing here, but if I was younger than this, you wouldn't ask me this question." But I kind of disagree because they asked him that because the team isn't good. The team hasn't made the playoffs in 4 years since 2020. If this team was making the playoffs, the team had made the playoffs this year, nobody would even care about that with Loomis' age. You know what I'm saying? But Loomis is not retiring. He was adamant about that when in the presser yesterday. He was saying that he feels great. He's gonna continue to run the team, continue to have the power that Gail Benson has given him. So we'll see how it all play out, man. But he just, I don't know, man. To me, he just see the team in a different lens compared to us, compared to everybody else. Even the even the people that cover the team, that see the team every day, he sees it through a different landscape, a different lens compared to us though. So they also talked about the key areas of improvement as well. We talked about player health and development, and the players' health, and the depth. And he was talking about, the deep. You want to take a deep dive into the injuries and why they continue to occur, the soft tissue injuries, and the Pelicans having the same issues. Um, why doesn't it happen last year or the year before that, man? Because that's one of the reasons why the team ain't going, hasn't been going anywhere. The injuries, you know, culture and vision. Talked about the draft strategy. Talked about possibly acquiring more picks. He doesn't have an issue with that. Things of that matter. And like he said some things about Derek Carr, but some good things about Carr, but um, you know, he said that it depends on who the head coach is going to determine Carr stay with this team. I think Carr's going to be back with this football team. I really do. I wouldn't be shocked if they decide to move on from him, but I don't think they're gonna just go out there and eat the $51 million. like that. I think they're gonna wait till after June. I think it's the June 1st date to execute a release of Derek Carr, and that way his cap is hit is spread out over the next 2 years. So we'll see how it all play out, man. But I think this team, I just think this is just a challenging situation, man. And I've said this in the past. Whoever they hire a head coach is going to determine the type of coach that they hire is going to determine how fast they can get back to compete for championships, compete for playoff berths and things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how fast. That's what's going to determine how good this football team is going forward. But they have a lot to do, man. They have a whole lot to do to get this team back to where it's supposed to be. A whole lot. Now, they may get in there and win 8, 9 games, win the NFC South, down the road and all that. But you won't see, you won't, excuse me, you won't see this team. This team will not be at the levels that we all wanted to be at, which was under Drew Brees and Sean Payton, where they won 12, 13 games, hosted playoff games, things of that matter. You won't see that right now. You probably won't see that for the next 2 years, 2 to 3 years. At most you might see. Excuse me. At most you might see them win the NFC South. But in certain aspects, I don't fault Loomis for feeling this way because the division you're in, the NFC South, there's not no real juggernaut in this division. There's no, this ain't the AFC West. This ain't the AFC East where you're dealing with really good quarterbacks, really good head coaches. You're not dealing with that. You're dealing with Carolina Panthers head coaches that was in his first year. The Falcons coach, Raheem Morris, doesn't have a huge track record of success. Kind of have a somewhat similar resume to Dennis Allen, if we're being honest. Um, you know, Down in Tampa Bay, I think the most senior, head coach in the division is Todd Bowles, and a lot of people down in the Tampa Bay area are not all too big on Todd Bowles. So you really can't like fault Mickey Loomis for thinking this way because he's felt as though the division is so bad, has been so mediocre over the years that you feel as though this team is close, that they can turn the corner real fast. And based on what we saw this past Sunday again with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Washington Commanders, that pretty much shows you what the NFC South is all about. The team they lost to a rookie QB. Now, mind you, that's one of the best prospects we have seen at the position since Andrew Luck. But you get what I'm trying to say. So I don't really fault Loomis in that aspect for being optimistic about this team turning around real quickly. But they got to make changes, man. That's one of the biggest things I want to see when they make this hire, man. What changes is this new head coach, this new regime is going to usher in? So we'll see how it all play out, man. Mike McCarthy is the new name that's been added to the mix. I'll do a video on him later on, inquiring about that, breaking down that potential hire and what that could mean for this team. Joe Brady's another name out there. Aaron Glenn, of course. So we'll see how it all play out. All right, that's all I have for y'all for right now. Give me a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know how you feel. What were your takeaways from yesterday's press conference, end of the season press conference with Mickey Loomis? And check out sportsview360.com/Saints for the latest content on the New Orleans Saints organization. Have a blessed day. Peace. I'm out. Who that?